Hello, small world. Happiness is horse manure. I promise it's true. My kind neighbor just came by the other day with a whole load of delicious horse manure. So I've been shipping it out in wheelbarrows for 2 days. And I want to show you how much of a layer I put, and I also want to show you some of the older mulch beds that I've made. So I've got some fairly new ones, and I've got the totally fresh one, of course, and I've got one that's about 3 years old, and you can really see the difference in the soil and how delicious it is. And I mean delicious. So let's go have a look. I made these kale beds last year in spring, so they are quite new actually, and I just put a thick layer of horse manure with straw just on top of the grass, and then some compost on top. And you can see they've been yielding all summer and last summer, and this spring they've just been full of brassicas, purple broccolis, edible flowers, and of course I also put a lot of tulips in here this winter, because why not? I love tulips. Now they are going to be cleared out, and I'll have maybe some yacon and some more brassicas and edible flowers, some wild tomatoes, stuff like that. They're not quite they haven't quite found their balance, but they still yield quite a lot. So I really like just making a plot in the middle of the lawn, and it doesn't really take a lot of work. Our neighbor he's 500 meters that way, so it's not a lot for him to bring the horse manure, and I'm happy to have it, because it really brings sort of fertility and lushness in the garden. I like these beds. They're kind of beautiful, and they make spaces like this. And it's nice to move around in a garden like this. And these are just fruit trees and nitrogen fixers and different kinds of trees. This is not the forest garden or the food forest, but just right beside it. But let's go into the old vegetable garden, where I put most of the horse manure. And you can see, let me just get this one. So actually now most of the garden has been mulched. First I was adding some old straw. It's half composted but quite dry, so not ideal. And then you can see it's really a thick layer of horse manure and lots of straw. I find that this works really well with the kind of soil that we have here. It's very heavy clay soil, good soil, but very hard to work. You can kind of tell how hard it is. So that's why the straw is giving a much better structure to the soil, and it's easier to work and to grow plants in. This part I did actually mulch most of it last fall, so it's not as fresh, and you can already sort of see that there's a difference, and it's quite loose and it's better. It does have a lot of compost on top, but much easier to grow in than this hard soil. So I'm just gonna add compost on top, and it'll be simple growing, because it's really not it's not quite ready, but with compost on top I can grow tree spinach, I can have some yacons, maybe have more potatoes if I want, strawberries, just put stuff that I just know will grow. Lots of squash, for instance, is also quite happy to grow in horse manure directly. So just a really thick layer, and actually maybe you can feel how it's just gonna be a delicious, a really delicious spongy, fertile mess that you can grow stuff in, and it's in a couple of years it'll be amazing soil, and I can just add on top of that, and I'm not disturbing anything that goes on, and compost worms will appear magically, and the composting will go on, and eventually it'll just turn into the most amazing topsoil. So I want to show you another mulch bed that I did, I think about 3 years ago, and just to see how delicious the soil is in that. Hi Molly. So this bed is about 3 years old. Maybe this is the 4th grow season. I just started again. Lots of horse manure, compost, seaweed, whatever I had. I've been adding to this bed leftover soil from the greenhouse, and I grow potatoes in this spot. It keeps it really sort of clean, and we have lots of potatoes, and I don't even have to plant them because I never sort of get to. But have a look at this, how amazing the soil is, and it's moist and delicious, and I never water this bed, and it really yields a lot. So I think mulching has such potential in any garden. And if you want to sort of dive into the mulching aspect of gardening, have a look at Charles Dowding. He is the master of mulching. I'll put the link in the description below. He knows everything about what to add and how much, and he's sort of much more scientific than I am. I add stuff, and sometimes it's not quite balanced, but nature will figure it out. It's not difficult. Just grow stuff. It's really wonderful, and it's so easy.